I'm Rafael Sanchez. I'm wearing a body-worn camera now used by Metro police officers. What this means for them and for the public. That story coming up on WRTV.
These same measures we're doing prevent viral transmission.
We're told to wear a mask to help stop the spread of COVID-19, but it could have an additional health benefit in the weeks ahead.
As the state's eviction moratorium expires tomorrow, the Indianapolis Housing Agency comes up with a quick fix to avoid mass evictions. I'm Stephanie Wade with that story just ahead.
And a wall banger for Fernando Alonso during day 2 of practice for the Indy 500. We'll see how he's doing when we check in with Brad Brown live at the track.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5, streaming now.
Good evening to you, and first here at 5 o'clock, they've been a long time coming. Tonight, we have an inside look at the use of IMPD body-worn cameras.
The technology is already being used on patrol on the streets of Indianapolis. WRTV's Rafael Sanchez reports on the effort to make the public comfortable when they are recorded.
This is the view from a Metro Police body-worn camera. I was wearing one, and Tom Ford agreed to be interviewed outside his home.
I think it's great, and I think it's good because it captures what happens. Any event can elevate into something more severe of an event, as we see in the news all the time, so I think it's good that it captures that.
The cameras are part of the officer's uniform. 77 Metro Police officers and counting have already been given their cameras on the city's east side.
It's another step in the healing process, not only for Indianapolis, but around the nation. Having these body cams on our officers, I hope, and we hope as an agency, ensures that an accurate record of our interactions with the citizens occur.
The camera's on and off function is controlled by the officer, but during major moments like drawing a weapon, the system turns on automatically.
The officer can turn it off by our policy. They'll leave the camera running until the incident is over, but on the same watch, in the corner, there's another button. If they push it 3 times in a row, that will turn it off. The reason it's 3 presses is because we don't want an accidental, you bump into a wall or another person and it turns the camera off. So it has to be a very intentional act to push it 3 times to shut the camera off.
There will be limitations to what you can see. The farther the camera is from you, the more will be seen of the scene. The camera does not provide a 360 view. But as Ms. Berry told us, in a world of he said, she said, there will be something to see if needed.
There's something to be said for seeing things with your own eyes versus what someone has told you. And when there's a miscommunication or there is doubt as to what has occurred, that you can see that.
Metro Police expects all officers to have their body-worn cameras by Thanksgiving. Working for you in Indianapolis, Rafael Sanchez, WRTV.
And people will be able to request video from the body-worn cameras. The maximum that the city can charge for the video is $159 per state law. In addition to uniform officers, officers who work traffic detail, K-9, SWAT will also receive a camera.
The number of new positive cases of coronavirus has topped 1,000 again in the state of Indiana. After dropping into the 600s the last 2 days, the day's number jumped to 1,046. Those positive cases all recorded yesterday. The statewide total is now 77,565, but the overall positivity rate continues to remain at 8.8%. It stayed the same for more than a week and a half. 20 more Hoosiers have died from COVID-19, those deaths occurring between July 31st and yesterday. The overall total is closing in on 3,000. Health experts say fewer people could get sick with the flu this year if COVID-19 precautions continue. Doctors say things like hand washing, wearing masks, and social distancing help prevent both viruses from spreading. They're also urging people to start getting the flu shot when it becomes available next month. Health experts say the shot is very effective and will help keep hospital beds open for those with more severe COVID-19 complications.
We were talking in the early spring about healthcare utilization and flattening the curve and preventing hospital admissions so we don't overwhelm capacity. The flu shot is going to help us flatten the curve this fall because as people vaccinate, they'll be less likely to get severely ill, less likely to need hospitalization and the like.
Many of the initial symptoms of the flu are similar to those of COVID, experts say. If you experience any of them, it is important to stay home and call your doctor if problems persist or you have trouble breathing.
Well, it's warm in central Indiana and a bit humid, and I'll show you where it's pouring in a second. It's probably dry at your house, though. It's dry for most of us. 83, that's our current temperature. Humidity at 58%. The humidity's not going anywhere the next couple of days, but it is going somewhere early next week. Temperatures around the region, 88 in Bloomington, Bedford, 87, but you have the downpour. We'll all check that out here in a second. There's the radar in central Indiana, dry until you get down into Lawrence County. That is drifting from Bedford and Oolitic and Mitchell up to the northwest, and so may move into southeastern portions of Greene County, southeast then of Bloomfield. You can see it's very heavy rainfall, and the best chance for any additional rain this evening will be southwest of Terre Haute to Bloomington and Seymour line. We'll head to the track here shortly. Between now and 11. There are the pop-up showers and thunder showers in the southwest portion of the state. Temperatures, they'll drop to about 78 by 10 o'clock tonight. We'll zero in on the weekend forecast coming up.
Thanks, Kevin. Tens of thousands of people are still feeling the pain of not having a job due to the pandemic, but there are more signs of improvement as new unemployment claims have fallen to their lowest level both nationally and here in Indiana since the crisis began. In Indiana, just over 10,000 Hoosiers filed for unemployment last week. That is still above normal, but it's the lowest number of claims since businesses began laying off workers in March. Nationally, the Labor Department says 963,000 Americans filed for unemployment for the first time last week. That is the first time that number has been below 1 million since the middle of March. And the state's eviction moratorium expires tomorrow, and that means hundreds of thousands of Hoosiers are at risk of being evicted who were unable to pay their rent the past few months during the pandemic. But today, the Indianapolis Housing Agency approved a proposal trying to prevent mass evictions in our city. RTV6's Stephanie Wade shares this critical information that you need to know if you are at risk.
To prevent thousands of people from being kicked out of their homes starting tomorrow, the IHA Board of Commissioners voted today to implement a repayment policy for residents to avoid eviction.
Already we have a lot of homeless out here, and you've got families with illness, families with kids. Where are they going to go? The jobs are closed down. What are we going to do? We are crying for help.
Times are tough for many of us right now, especially for those who lost jobs or had pay cuts because of COVID-19. With the state's eviction moratorium expiring tomorrow, that puts literally hundreds of thousands of Hoosiers who were unable to pay their rent the past few months potentially on the streets. But for those who live at one of the 13 Indianapolis Housing Agency properties in Marion County, which is about 2,000 families right now, IHA is offering them a repayment agreement plan rather than facing immediate eviction. Currently, 900 households are behind on rent, according to IHA, which translates to nearly $1 million. For those who have been impacted by the pandemic, you may also qualify to have your rent lowered by completing a change of income form, a much needed break for those struggling the most.
Being able to have one less burden off of them is just awesome. It's just, important right now. And I just hope and I pray that everybody will be able to bounce back from this because this is very serious.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
And the Office of Public Health and Safety has also outlined programs and organizations assisting renters and homeowners struggling to make their monthly payments right now. To see a list of resources, visit our website at theindychannel.com. Brad.
The first accident of Indy 500 practice involves one of the big names in the race. I'm Brad Brown, live trackside. We will show you how Fernando Alonso put it in the wall, and we'll hear from the former Formula One world champion coming up live trackside.
National recognition and a big surprise for a local firefighter who's battled from COVID-19.
And the weekend forecast, it includes some thunderstorms. We'll talk about when and where they're most likely coming up.
Welcome back. Day 2 of practice at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the first crash of the season. Former F1 champ Fernando Alonso finding the wall. Let's get right to Brad Brown at IMS. How's he doing, Brad?
He's doing fine, Amanda. We're standing here in Gasoline Alley where just about 20 minutes ago we saw the mangled shell of his number 66 car roll back to the Aero SP McLaren garage, where those guys are going to have a lot of work to do. There's one single practice session on Friday before qualifying on Saturday. And if you remember one of the storylines coming into this, the fact that Alonso missed the race last year. Coming back here with a little bit of redemption in mind, really hoping with kind of an energized team, a re-energized effort to make this a little easier. Now, there's only 33 cars, so he'll be in the field. Where he ends up in the field this weekend remains to be seen. But let's show you the incident that Amanda mentioned and we've been talking about here. This happened just about 5:15. Practice really was cruising right along, and then Alonso going into turn 4 as he enters that turn, got his left front wheel down on that concrete berm that runs on the inside of the asphalt. And as drivers have here for decades, when you hit that spot, the car kind of goes slick. It goes wild on the back end, and he hit the outside wall on the top of the front stretch. That car slid all the way down toward the entrance to pit lane. Fortunately, it slid enough to the outside, or excuse me, to the far inside. Didn't hit the pit attenuator, but it did hit the other wall there as well. Alonso did climb out of the car. He was fine. The car was not. Afterwards, though, we caught up with the former Formula One world champion back at the medical center, who had a pretty easy recap of what happened.
I lost the grip, and this place, the walls are coming very close, and nothing you can do at one point. You become, as a passenger, let's say, behind the wheel, and we managed to do good laps today, and it was a good day until now, and we unfortunately had this mistake, this problem now, and I'm sorry for the team, and hopefully tomorrow we can run a clean day.
You mentioned those walls coming quickly. Drivers really in that pack going a little bit more than 220 miles an hour at that point in practice. So again, Alonso is fine. We'll see what kind of work they're able to get done. Again, tomorrow is the Fast Friday practice. The horsepower will go up ahead of qualifying, a completely different car they'll have to deal with, so we'll see how Alonso is able to bounce back tomorrow as practice continues. Let's show you a little more of the busy action you can hear going on behind me here as we're down to these final about 15 minutes of practice left. They'll go until 5:30 today. Long line of traffic here in this last hour. Cars lining up 6, 8, 10, 12 deep as we've seen lap speeds reach up and over 225 miles an hour for a couple of drivers today. That includes Connor Daly, driving for Ed Carpenter Racing. We talked earlier this week about his hookup with the new engineer Cole Pern. Seems that things are going well so far for Connor. He's enjoying his first couple of days here in the month of August. What do you like out of the car today?
Well, the fact that it's fast is nice. I'm actually just really happy being in this team. Cole's done a good job as our engineer so far, but it's just one day at a time, right? We obviously know everyone's trying to get better themselves, so we'll see. But definitely have started here. This is the best I've ever started here this month, for sure.
Takuma Sato, the other driver, over 225 so far today. Hey, a ton of cool helmets out here with these drivers now. These guys and the artists that create these helmet designs, just some very creative things we're seeing all up and down pit lane. A ton of good ones, but there's one particularly great one. Max Chilton coming here with a textured Borg Warner trophy design on his helmet, inspired by the great trophy here that goes and honors the champion of the Indianapolis 500. And our Dave first caught up with Max earlier to tell him a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. It's part of the fun of the Indy 500, letting the drivers sort of create something. I've been fortunate enough to have the same helmet painter for 15 years, and he's an artist like my wife is. Yeah. And I know my wife is happiest when she can do what she wants. So I give him free reins. He came up with this last year with the Borg. It's not just shadowing, it is actually textured, so it's pretty impressive.
Very cool stuff there. Hey, we'll have our first WRTV Trackside special coming up tonight at 7:30. More on Roger Penske's new era beginning here at IMS. We'll also hear from the defending champion of the Indy 500, Simon Pagenaud. We'll look back 50 years to Al Unser's first win. That's all tonight right here at IMS at 7:30. And it's something fun we've seen around here. Fun, I guess, neat, interesting. It'll be a piece of history. We walk around the track. When they were thinking they were going to have fans here, they had started putting out these red do not use dots on about every other seat. They got 50,000 dots in, and then of course you know the rest of the story. There won't be fans here, but as we look around, you see some of the video of the stands here. Lots of dots. That's what's left here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Our coverage will continue tonight back here at the track. We'll be back in about an hour on the news at 6. Dave, first, Tony Khan will recap day 2 of practice. We'll see you then at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
All right, Brad, lots of dots and no fans. All right. Well, here's an essential worker, a first responder, and a COVID-19 survivor all in one. And last night, a Brownsburg firefighter was in the national spotlight.
I've got you set up with like a ton of swag, we call this in the industry. I got some for you, for family, for some of the guys at the 133, some of your fellow firefighters who have been so supportive for you guys. I want to say thank you to them.
That's fantastic. Brownsburg firefighter Kevin Byron was named a healthcare hero on Jimmy Kimmel Live here on WRTV, hosted last night by Rob Lowe. Byron recently battled COVID-19, and he got to chat with Nathan Fillion from The Rookie because Byron is a big fan. He also got $10,000 along with other gifts for the firefighters at Brownsburg Station 133. That is amazing and really speaks to the whole team there. How cool is that, Kevin?
Yeah, congratulations to Kevin. Good to see Hendricks County and the spirit of Hoosiers in the spotlight nationally. Well, you heard the noise out at 16th and Georgetown. I'll show you where some noise is coming from as far as the weather here in a second down in Lawrence County. When I mention evening thunderstorms possible south, I'll show you south of Terre Haute, Bloomington, Seymour, the most likely areas. I think tomorrow and Saturday, the threat will drift a little more into central Indiana, including most of us. Next week, something to look forward to for sure as we lower the temperatures and the humidity level. Lots of clouds around today, but not much in the way of rain. But where it's raining, it is pouring. Down to Bedford and Olytic, those are all out downpours. That's just the last hour of movement. So it kind of just sits and drifts a little bit to the northwest. We'll see if that can make it to 231 south of Bloomfield. Certainly may see some localized flooding as a result of those thunderstorms. Otherwise, they seem to be just either side of Interstate 64 in the southern portion of the state. But we're converting that humidity into some heavy rain. Don't forget, whenever we have rain in the forecast, it doesn't have to be just when there's a severe weather threat, but the Storm Shield app is very helpful. Can help you plan your day. It is free, and on those days where we do have severe weather potential, you'll get warnings sent directly to your phone. Temperatures in the 80s. Now you see the veil of clouds there beyond the first turn at the Motor Speedway. It's at 88 in Bloomington. Indy was at 87 here just 2 hours ago. Through the day tomorrow, the chance of a shower or thunderstorm first thing in the morning will be south, just like they are tonight. But I think as we go to the afternoon, probability of showers and thunderstorms will increase for all of central Indiana. Temperatures not quite as warm. During the day, you'll see the shower and thunderstorm activity is pretty isolated. The best chance really in the southern and southeast portions of the state. You can see right along the state line with Ohio. 40% chance you'll have some rain at your house tomorrow. Temperatures all in the 80s. You'll see in the 7-day forecast we'll be able to back off of these weekend temperatures. It's a little cooler Sunday. That's when the transition starts to take place. The chance for thunderstorms there Saturday and Sunday, but it's not that great of a chance. I would not cancel your weekend plans. There are your temperatures on Saturday from north to south, low to mid 80s, and the chance for thunderstorms will come in, as I mentioned, through the afternoon hours on Saturday as we start to heat things up. There's the next 3 days. Temperatures peak Saturday, 30% chance of thunderstorms at 86. And as you look at the rest of the 7-day forecast, you see how temperatures settle into the 70s on Tuesday and Wednesday. And overnight lows as comfortable as 57 as we go to Wednesday and Thursday morning. I'm not saying you need to dress in layers, but I am saying you'll enjoy that.
Still ahead here on WRTV News at 5. When was the last time you purchased something for 15 cents? The movie chain that has a deal for you as it prepares to welcome back guests.
AMC is ready to welcome moviegoers to its theaters once again, and they are touting it as movies in 2020 at $19.20 prices. AMC will open the doors to more than 100 theaters on August 20th, a week from today, including 2 in Indianapolis. Castleton Square 14, and Indianapolis 17. And on that day only, they'll be offering retro ticket prices of 15 cents per movie plus tax. AMC plans to have 2/3 of its theaters open no later than September 3rd. According to the chain's website, theaters will be reducing auditorium capacities, enhancing cleaning procedures, and also increasing social distancing standards. Masks will also be required. Right now, Marion County movie theaters can only be open at 25% capacity. Schools districts hit with cyber attacks just as the academic year begins. Tonight at 6, Kara Kenny finds out how school leaders trying to prevent this from happening and what parents can even do.
We received $10,000 in this grant, and I don't know how we would have done it without it.
Grant money is available to help nonprofit organizations take safety steps against COVID-19, but the deadline is quickly approaching. Details coming up next on WRTV News at 5:30.